Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Marketing Happy Hour. I am one of your hosts, Dr. Christopher Vosgelmann of Epic Win Agency, which is the joint venture I have with this guy.
This guy right here. That's
John
me.
Paduchak.
John Paduchak. Hey, everybody. I'm John Paduchak of Epic Win Agency also.
Don't forget videos are social.
And videos are social. Yeah, I can forget that.
We have Maximize Your Media, our hometown
and
agency.
Strategies. Man, we got a lot going on.
We do. Many things are happening. And speaking of things that are happening, well, he's not a thing. He is the illustrious Dr. Kay.
Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you guys again. And hello,
are you okay?
Everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
I can hear you now.
Okay. This is Coach Kay from Simplify.zone. I help entrepreneurs get things done through implementation. Simplified implementation.
That's a lot of implementation.
That's a lot of implementation.
We need a lot of it. That's what creates the results, right?
It does.
Do you give people implements like hose and shovels and things to implement?
If that's what it takes.
That's what it takes.
Whatever gets the job done.
It could be Gorilla Glue. This episode has not been brought to you by Gorilla Glue. That's a good brand, and they sell a lot of it. So we're talking about sales today and how you might be screwing up your sales process. One of the things that occurred to me, and John and I were talking just before we went live, was the Peter Drucker quote, which is that marketing should make sales superfluous. So if you have really good marketing, it should just be easy to basically be an order taker. But there are salespeople whom I know who even teach sales courses who would vehemently disagree with that. I'd say that sales is everything and marketing is just fluff.
Well, for one thing, that has been always the conversation, because not with just sales and marketing, people always only see their side of the equation, and they make a deeper connection with that rather than everything else. On the other hand, that quote is talking about when marketing is completely 100% effective, done right.
Right.
So that's an ideal to go towards. So sales being as simple as order taker probably never happens, or in some cases happen.
Yeah, but if the desirability, the marketing is made so desirable, because I know there are a lot of Apple fanboys, yours truly included, who will pretty much buy anything that Apple puts out.
Yeah, and is that because of the marketing
is so effective?
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Well, it's also all the other things that comes after the purchase with any product, including Apple as well. But on the other hand, the salespeople that they say sales is important, I don't agree with the marketing is fluff part. But yes, sales is important, because sales is like anything else in this world. It can be done right or wrong. Even that order taking, we can screw that one up too.
Right. Hey, John, so you were in financial sales and marketing, financial services for a long time. What are some of the things that you picked up along the way with respect to selling financial services or products, if you will?
It's funny. I think the most important thing is just being conversational, asking a lot of questions, listening. Exactly. Listening is key. I often say that not only was I good in sales because I listened a lot, but I think I could have been a good therapist.
I feel better already, John.
So, no, but it's a talent that really is important.
I agree. Because sometimes a client or a customer will regard you, or a patient may suddenly seem to feel like you're their best friend, even though they may not even know you that well, just because you're one of the few people who actually has listened to them.
I think it's good to be on a lot of different sides of the coin. I happen to have worked for a long time in a very advanced technical support role, because I worked as an engineer for some time. I've worked in marketing and I've worked in sales, and it's interesting. It's an unusual perspective to have that, because you kind of begin to see how all of those things work together, research, marketing, and sales. And it gives you a unique perspective.
Yes.
So Dr. Kayvon.
Yes.
Dr. Kay, Coach Kay, implementation coach. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see people making, how they screw up the whole sales process?
Well, they say the biggest mistakes that salespeople make is not asking for the sale. They do the conversation, they do the presentation, they all of that, and by the end of it, they don't simply ask, "So you want to buy it?" I hear that's the biggest mistake that is made in the sales world. So I learned that before entering, using sales as part of the things that I do on a day-to-day basis. So I always make sure to do that. Another thing is what John said, conversational. Many years ago, somebody said to me, who was a corporate level salesperson, he said there are two types of salespeople: listeners and talkers, and you want to be the listener part, the listener kind. So I guess talking too much and not ending up with prospects that they feel unheard could be another big mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that we did the analysis, or John had this AI stuff from some of our Zoom calls, and they would analyze the whole thing. And if the two of us were talking together and we would finish the whole thing, apparently I would be talking for about an hour and 15 minutes, and John got maybe 15 minutes total time talking. And
so you can tell who's the talker and who's the listener in this relationship.
apparently.
And how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good, actually. I feel like I've been not heard, but it's okay. Hey, so the other thing,
you should be seen and not heard. Or is that children?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I think I was going to say another thing that I think is really common that we've been talking about a lot lately, and that is the fact that so many businesses are wrapped up in their own stuff.
Yes.
Like they don't pay attention to what's important to the other person. They don't talk in the language of, this is what this can do for you. This is how it can change things for you. They don't care how it changes things for us. They just care how it changes things for themselves.
Yes. Yeah, they talk about what is it that we can do as opposed to, or what is it that we have to sell, what we offer, as opposed to what it can do for you. What problem does it solve for you?
And does the prospect actually need what you are offering? I think people try to make the quick sale and put somebody into a size 10 shoe when they really need a 15. That's painful. Just to let you know.
That would be painful.
Isn't 15 bigger than 10?
Yes.
Yes, way bigger.
So how is that painful?
Well, you flop around inside of it, or the opposite would be the case too. You're going to have blisters. You're going to have all kinds of things. Yeah,
it's going to be a pain either way.
Yeah,
both ways. Yeah, so finding the right fit is the key, no matter what you're looking at. Then if you can refer people out, if you're selling something in particular and you realize that your particular product or approach, or for want of any better service, for example, doesn't quite fit their needs, then sending them out and referring out is an indication you really were listening to them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Joe Polish and go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I had that happen recently. A group of people that I was talking to about something, and they're like, you may not be a perfect fit for us. It may be somebody completely different, but we're happy to send you in that direction if that's what you need. That's refreshing in itself.
It is. Yeah. I had the opposite experience of it just a few weeks ago. I was on a call and the person was pushing the sales on me a lot. And I basically said, this is not right for me. I don't want it. And they were still pushing it and, coming up with all sorts of things that I didn't think it's ethical. So, yeah.
Yeah, you can't have
my best interest in mind.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have like a giant sales manual and just keep going down every single answer to every objection that somebody would come up with.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is knowing when to let go. Like maybe the reason it's not happening is that person's not going to be an ideal client for you anyways.
Yes.
Marketing is a filter, and one of the aspects of the filter is pushing people out that aren't right for your product or service.
Yeah. I remember listening to this podcast episode from I Love Marketing, that it was Joe Polish and Dan, and he was referring to a conversation he had with Dan Sullivan, and I think that's a separate podcast by itself. Basically, it was Joe asking Dan, what is your definition of sales? And I really liked how Dan defined it, because we have so many ideas about sales, good feelings, bad feelings, good experiences, bad experiences. So Dan's answer to what is the definition of sale was, if I remember correctly, it was about getting people interested and engaged in a future that is good for them. And highlight, bold, underline, good for them. And that would be the right kind of selling and ethical kind of selling and that sort of thing. So our job when we are in the sales position is to help them see that future that's good for them, connect with it and get interested in it. So therefore, they want to move forward with that conversation. So getting people interested and engaged in a future that is good for them. And that was very helpful to me, and cleared up so many of misunderstandings. Have you guys heard that one before?
I think I have, but not phrased quite that way. But it's getting people to envision their future self. Is what I was, where you imagine imagine if you will, I have an imaginary magic wand which will solve all your problems, and I tap you, and in the future you are sitting on the beach in southern Spain enjoying a margarita, and this type of thing. So to envision their future in terms of the circumstances as well as feelings that they're having in terms of confidence and happiness, et cetera, et cetera. There was a way of projecting them into the future. Beginning with the end in mind, if you will, and then saying, okay, let's come back to the present and see how we can get you there.
Yeah, I see, and I like that future. I think they call it future pacing.
Future pacing,
yeah, in sales. But I'd like to know what are your thoughts on the magic wand question, more specifically on being so open-ended part of it, because I have to say I don't like it that much, and I have something to. But I'd like to hear what you guys think about that.
An awkward silence fills the room.
It is an awkward silence. I guess I'm not quite sure what you mean by the magic wand.
Okay, so the question is like this. So, John, now that we're on this call, let's say I'm selling you a high-ticket program, right? Sure. High-ticket offer program, and I say, let me ask you this: if I had a magic wand and I could just, turn it around and make all your wishes come true, what would be the ideal future that you like to have? What are anything that you can wish for? It's a genie, you rub the lamp kind of a thing. Tell me what you want.
Yeah, that is a little too open-ended.
I like it. Because I like the whole imagination thing. I mean, it doesn't work on me, but I kind of like the approach because it's sort of Harry Potter-esque.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it has fantasy and it is cute, but I'm not sure if it's practical or helpful. So that's the problem that I have with it. It's joyful.
How would you restructure that? I mean, you would have to say some sort of future pacing. Are you going to say, imagine if we set the following 5 goals and they came true within a 5-year period? How would you feel?
Well, I again use Dan Sullivan's format for that. He has the R factor question, and he says, imagine that you and I have another conversation 3 years from now,
right?
And you are very happy and satisfied both personally and professionally. So from now till then, what are the changes that they have to happen for you to be happy and satisfied 3 years from now? So it has the element of 3 years. It's not like open-ended
for forever.
I recall the magic wand thing being used saying 5 years from now.
Yeah, well, those are the enhancements, that kind of thing.
Okay.
You could enhance it by 2 years.
Sure. This is also a magic one, but the main point that I'm trying to say is by putting those factors in to make it reasonable and reliable and logical, then people's brain go to the right places to come up with the right answers that is actually doable and achievable and that sort of thing. It's like that's old mental trick. So let's play a little game here. Sounds good?
All right.
Okay. So I don't want you guys to answer. I'm just gonna ask a bunch of questions. All I want you to do is John is like, that's easy. I'm not gonna answer.
I won't say a thing.
So,
Go ahead.
but I want you to just watch what happens in your mind as I ask the questions. So watch your mental process. So think about not that hard,
Oh,
Dr.
sorry. Sorry.
So look at your business and think about one of the biggest obstacles that you have right now. Something that you really want to, take it to the next stage or fix it or solve it or that sort of thing.
Done.
And let's say I am the salesperson and the solution that I have is 100% guaranteed that will solve your problem. So it's not one of those previous examples that we had. This might work, might not work. Let's say, for the sake of the game, it is the solution that you want, 100%, it will work. Now, I would ask you, okay, this solution is going to cost $20,000, and you need to come up with money in a week.
Okay.
Yeah, don't say anything, just what happens in your mind. And I say, okay, this solution is going to cost $50K, and you have to come up with that money in a week. Or I say, no, this solution is going to cost $20K, and you have a month. So I'm guessing with changing the scenario and the numbers, your brain came up with different solutions. Okay, if I have to come up with 20K by 1 week, this is what I'm going to do. Or I'm going to say, it's impossible. I'm not going to do it. If it's going to be a month, your brain came up with other ways of dealing with the answers. So you are the same person. Your brain is the same brain. Your problem is the same problem. I just changed the question, and your brain came up with different answers. So first of all, the importance of the answers are there. We're not just asking the right questions so that our brain goes, okay, what do you want me to do? I have all sorts of information. There's nothing for me to do. But by changing the question, your brain came up with different kind of answers. So I think that magic one question or future pacing question could be designed in a way that from the mind or brain of our client bring out the things that they are helpful to them. It's a future that's good for them. It's doable, something that we can do to help them, or identify what is it that we cannot help them with. So going back to that, so imagine we have another conversation 3 years from now, and you're happy and satisfied with the results. What are the changes that they have to happen from now till then? So I find that question very inspirational and also very practical, that people come up, well, the number of clients has to grow by 2 times, sales revenue go this much. They can come up with things that just answering that question become a very helpful kind of goal setting and also sales tool. How was that? How was the experience of the game for you guys?
It was interesting insofar as all you've really changed are the amount and the time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so the dollar amount, I mean, with respect to time, well, with the first question, it was just the 20K versus the 50K. I did think of different things that I could do to get to the 50K that were a lot harder than the 20K, but were still doable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that after having been presented 20K in 30 days, it was almost a little bit of a letdown, and I had less interest in it.
Oh, there you go.
Because there was less urgency involved.
Mm-hmm.
So where do I sign?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what we want. We want to have the right numbers, the price, the value, deliverable, urgency, and all of that. So becomes obvious that, hey, this is what I want. This is, where do I sign? So this is that part that I have. I'm in agreement with what you said at the beginning, that some salespeople think sales is important, and no, this is the whole thing of phrasing it and defining the gap and the improvements and future pacing. This is the art of selling, in my experience.
So if we're looking at selling, and we're looking at the marketing, what aspects of marketing make the sale a whole lot easier, since we call ourselves the marketing happy hour? And what I'm referring to is I've seen people, this is my pet peeve. I was mentioning this to John before we went live, is that people on LinkedIn, now on Facebook are befriending me. We share a lot of common friends and interests. And then they hit me up within, I would say, under 24 hours with some sort of sales pitch, either for crypto or investments or this or that or whatever it is. And I'm ready to unfriend them quickly. And the same thing. And what's worse has been LinkedIn, where they're immediately pitching. Like, you just accept their connection on LinkedIn and boom, there's 5 paragraphs ahead of you saying, let's set up a call, a discovery call, a consultation call. So, I mean, is that just seems to be a level of impatience that actually goes far beyond asking somebody to marry you on the first date. It's like, it's like sticking your foot in the bedroom, when you just when you walked into their house. So,
yeah.
That's
No,
a good
I
analogy.
agree with that entirely. I have that same experience where I'll get somebody who will just out of the blue, hey, what's going on? I've got this thing. I've got this product.
I can remove that thing for you.
Yeah. I mean, whatever it might be. And it just doesn't float with me. It's just not, I mean, maybe it works for some people. I just can't. I can't
Well,
see
it works for desperate situations, right? When we are desperate, we are responsive to that. So they're looking for the vulnerable with that kind of a thing, which is predatory and I don't know. But you were talking about, so where is marketing? We're marketing happy hour. The job, a simplified answer to that is, to me, the job of marketing is to take care of that know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
Until when we get to the sales, we say, okay, I know you, I like you, and I trust you. So let's talk.
So you might call that the pre-sale, is the marketing.
It is. Marketing is a pre-sale. Or it's getting the right people to talk to you in the first place.
Yeah.
Yes. Getting the right people. Yeah. Marketing.
It's the filter.
It's the filter.
And it's funny, like I said, it's I say this a lot. It's funny how many people think, oh, well, everybody should be my customer. Well, no. You're going to be more frustrated than
Yes.
you can stand.
Yeah.
So it's important.
You guys remember we were talking about breakthrough advertising before.
Yeah.
So different stages of where people, like, everybody could be a customer, but not everybody should be a customer.
Correct.
Because there are some people that they do have a problem, but they just don't know about it. So it's called the problem awareness, right? Are they aware of the problem? Then the next level is, well, are they bothered by it?
Yeah.
Maybe they have a problem, but they're okay with it, just the way it is. Not really looking for a solution. Yes.
Right. Are they actively seeking a solution for it?
Yeah. What's after that? So after, are they willing to, invest in that solution? Because some people want a solution, but as long as it's free. An investment is not just money, it's time and all of that too. So problem aware, are they looking for a solution? Are they willing to invest in a solution?
Mm-hmm.
Do they want my kind of solution or our kind of solution? Because there are multiple ways to solve any problem. And do they want my solution? And do they want it now? So these last two parts is the sales, getting closer into sales. But all the other ones is in the realm of marketing. We don't want to start with, are you aware that you have this problem, on a sales call? That's the marketing part.
Well, and the marketing, I remember Scott Olford and a few other people would talk about this too. And the examples I was given about something like with driving, for example, where a person is unconsciously incompetent and they're putting their foot on the gas when it should be the brake and that sort of thing. And then they become aware that they are consciously incompetent, and then they and so this is gradual unfoldment until you are consciously, or actually unconsciously, expert or unconsciously skilled.
Right.
I think the same sort of thing in sales or marketing seems to happen, where there's a certain group of people who don't realize they have a problem.
Yeah.
And you need to educate them. And that's part of the reason for education, is to get them to gradually lead them to an awareness they might have a problem. And it might not be because of Jimmy John or Jane the employee or things like that. It might be because they have no standard operating procedure in place. But the solution that you're offering of creating SOPs for them is something they've never ever considered, because they just, they used to be a one-man show, and then they just added a few people thinking that would fix everything.
Yeah, doing more of what they have done so far is going to take them to the next level. But nope,
no.
New levels, new devils.
New levels, new devils. Bedeviled. So when I guess the question is, in larger organizations, sales and marketing often are very contentious, and they seem to fight with each other. The salespeople seem to feel that they're the only ones bringing in revenue. The marketing people seem to feel that they're the ones who are actually paving the way for the salespeople just to kind of sail on through. Different sale.
Well, it happens with all three phases of the company: the R&D people, the marketing people, and the sales people. They're all thinking each one is out to get them by coming out with a product too early, before it's ready. There's the thing going on between all three of them.
Well, all three of them can overdo what they're doing, so therefore the other ones should be in there. But that's I guess more of a human nature thing, because I remember when I was in the university, we had the same fight between internal medicine people or the surgical.
Sure.
Or we have this expression that I wholeheartedly disagree with, because they say the ones who cannot do teach.
Yeah.
Well, what about the ones that they are born teachers?
Yeah.
Or whoever else did anything that they could do, but nobody taught them.
Right.
Nobody created. So yeah, we need both. We need both doers and teachers, and it's not that we need one and not the other.
Everybody has a place.
Yeah.
So when you're in the case of a solopreneur, you don't have a research department, a marketing department, and a sales department. You are all three.
Yeah.
So what do you suggest that people focus upon as they have, as they're maybe a one-man gang, a gang of one trying to make it in the entrepreneurial world?
I would say they have to focus on all of them, but one at a time. That's the definition of focus. Trying to do all of them at the same time, not going to work. So that's why there is that expression that they say, I have my marketing hat on, I have my sales hat on. So that's idea of changing hats really, really makes sense to me. That, change hats. Also, going with the schedule as well. Like, I know that there are certain kind of activities that I am better at doing them in the morning, and the other ones in the afternoon. When I was a programmer, I realized that I can write code from scratch much better in the morning, and it's such a struggle to do the same thing in the afternoon. Debugging was the other way around. I couldn't do debugging in the morning. My brain was too creative and too fresh and all of that. But debugging worked really better in the afternoon. So when I noticed that pattern, I just did coding in the morning, fixing the code in the afternoon, and it bring a flow. So solopreneur, I have to do all of these. Just focus one at a time. 2, find the best time to do them, and 3, do them on that schedule and keep doing it. And after a while, with chiseling at it, they all can happen to the degree that one person can do it by themselves.
Now, I'm glad you asked that question, because I have a different ansor.
Oh boy, I like it. I like it a lot.
We have a debate going on.
No, so what I was thinking of as I was listening to Kayvon is that I think for a while, if you're a solopreneur, of course, you've got to do all of those tasks. But if you're smart about it and you start to put together standard operating procedures for each piece of what you do, so it's easy to turn it over to somebody else at some point so that you can maintain and stay in whatever your zone of brilliance is.
Yes.
I think you've got to begin kind of with the end in mind. Yes, you may have to do all of those things at first, but ultimately, wouldn't it be great if you could give those tasks to people that really love them and excel in them, so you can excel in what you do best?
Yes.
And that, I think, is a mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs make, because they don't think of separating themselves and working on their business rather than in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, for example, it seems to be easy for a solopreneur, for any entrepreneur, to say, oh, well, I'm going to outsource my legal documents to an attorney, as opposed to go to law school and crack the books open and learn how to be a lawyer.
Some things you just can't do.
I don't have to be an accountant. I will hire an accountant. But when it comes to sales, marketing, design, I know several doctors. There's a couple dentists and a couple MDs who I know, they insist on doing all the marketing themselves, and it's terrible.
Sure.
But they have this notion that they will learn it somehow and become adept at producing great killer ads, when in reality it's sort of killing their budget.
Yeah, when I have a client that has that kind of mindset, I have one piece of advice for them: stop it. Yes, exactly. I see my job as being, I completely agree with what John said. So again, bringing it back to a coaching situation, the problem is not that, at the beginning I'm going to do this, then I'm going to end up outsourcing it. The problem is that they don't have any definition of at the beginning.
Right.
What is that? 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year. And by not defining it, they always stay in that stage of, I still have to do it. I can't still outsource it. But if you say, okay, I'm going to give myself 6 months to outsource the first part and all of that. When you put the time on that, then it becomes a lot more practical. Another thing that what you said, Chris, about they want to do it themselves, but they're comfortable doing it with the legal or accounting and that sort of thing. I even go further, like this microphone. I didn't build it. Somebody else made it for me. So some people say, I cannot outsource this. Well, we're all delegators and outsources. But there is this imaginary line that we think, on that side of the line, I'm fine to pay for it. But on this side, I have to do it myself. And my answer to them is, well, that line is imaginary anyway. So just move it a bit further, closer to yourself, and bring it to what John said. You end up in your as close as possible, as much as possible in your genius zone. Everything else is outside that line. It's an imaginary line. Move it.
I think also it reminds me of the person, you say, well, I've got this pain in my lower right quadrant, and it hurts me. I'm getting nausea and this and that. And the idea, and it hurts me when I put some pressure in that area, and then when I release it, it hurts like hell. And it would be the same person who says, well, it could be appendicitis. So if I just learn some minor surgery principles and all this, and I'll be able to take care of it in a certain amount of time. And then I would say to them, well, suit yourself.
Yeah. I could do minor surgery.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it. But the question, so we don't, as you point out, Kayvon, we don't have any problem outsourcing legal, accounting, and things like that. But when it comes to consulting services or advertising or marketing, then there's a notion among a lot of professionals that they can do it themselves, or as good as, if not better, because nobody understands my business better than I do, which I sometimes disagree with, because I think a lot of times a fresh pair of eyes from the outside can understand them better than they can.
That shows up in two ways. One is nobody can understand it as good as I can, which is the part of everybody thinks that they're different.
Yeah.
But businesses are much more alike. If you are really that different from everybody else, marketing is not your problem.
Well, and you may not have any customers either. So
yes. The other one is that they say, I can't delegate this or outsource this. Nobody can do it as good as I can do it, right? So then we need to have that conversation of, is this your, genius zone, or our zone of brilliance, or is it you're good at, somebody else can do this with less money, or even if they really can't do it as good as you can. Because I remind them, there are like 12 things in the business. You can be good in one of them. If you're a genius, 2 of them. There is no possible, there is no way that you're good. You're the best in all of these things. So then we have to have that conversation. Even if somebody is going to do it 70% of as good as you can do it, your time is still better spent somewhere else. So let that happen. It's good enough. Let's keep moving.
Yeah, I think so. People say, 70% is terrible, it's low. No, you're the quality control person. You're going to make sure that things look good before you send it out into the world.
Yeah, also, it doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
focus on progress and get something going, and you can fix it later, and all of that. Just momentum.
At the beginning, just is good enough. Imperfect action. Put something out there. If it's crap, people will tell you it's crap, and then you can find something better.
If it's good enough for Apple to send the first iPhone without copy and paste, that's crazy. They still didn't have that option, but they sent the phone out. If it's good for them, it's good for us.
Mm-hmm.
I was taught
that's how they take over the world, right?
I was taught not to copy anyway. I should always be an original. So.
Yes, the plagiarism.
Plagiarism, bad. Now with AI, we're going to have no more plagiarism.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that could be true.
No more plagiarism and no more original content either.
No more original content.
Yes.
To have it, but that will be your zone of genius if you can produce original content from scratch.
Yes,
that'll be something else. I do agree with a lot of the things that you were talking about earlier, especially being the good listener. I found the most difficult thing when I was doing both sales and when I was in chiropractic was just becoming silent after making a presentation to a patient or a prospect.
Yes.
6 seconds was way too long for me. I started getting nervous.
Yes.
I actually studied a sales script, which is a long one. I think in my Word document it's like 12 pages or so. And there were many spaces that the part of the script was in big, bold letters, shut up.
Pause.
Yeah. You say something and you stay quiet until they say something.
Yeah.
Then you continue.
Mm-hmm.
So being comfortable with that silence is something that we really definitely need to train and get better at, because what's his name? Oren Klaff. His latest book is called Flip the Script. He's the guy who wrote Pitch Anything. So his book is called Flip the Script, and the idea of in pitching or selling situation, frame things in a way that people come up with it themselves, or they think they came up with the idea, what it was your idea in the beginning. Either way, the sales is easier, but at the same time, they also get more benefit from something that they ask for, they wanted. I'm sure we all have to pay for something or get something for free. I always use the one that I paid for more, and I took, it helped me a lot more. So by the fact of putting it in a way that they have to pay for it, they need to want it, they need to ask for it, we need to be comfortable with silence. I see all of them as serving our client by doing the right thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I really like that book. I just started reading it or listening to it last week, and so far so good. Yeah.
So who sold you on audiobooks?
Who sold me on audiobooks? It was an accident.
Okay.
Yes.
You accidentally started listening?
Yeah, but well, first of all, I always thought I have to read the books,
Right.
Didn't think that, I can do. So, and it was challenging for me and all of that. And somebody mentioned that you have to read so and so book. I needed to do that. That was like an assignment kind of a thing. And I went to the library and they didn't have the book. And they had the audiobook CDs. And I thought, what is the CDs? So I borrowed the CDs. I started listening to them in the car, and my whole world was changed. I finished the book for the first time after, 20 years in my life or whatever. And I actually retained a lot of it, understood it, and it was better. And I got lucky too. I think the book was not a typical audiobook. It was the presentation of a person on stage, recorded version of it. So it was, it had the jokes and entertaining part of it, asking people questions and all of that. So I got lucky. It was in one of my first or maybe second audiobook was interactive like that too. So that made it a good experience. Then later, when I started to pay attention to my patterns, and actually there was this old computer brain test developed, I think by some university in California, which was a brain test. It basically, my learning or interaction with the world was 65%, over 65% auditory and less visual, which is the opposite of what the normal population is. So suddenly that made a lot of sense.
So audio was a good way for you to pick stuff up.
Yeah, there is input and there is output. So this is actually one of my first questions when I have a new client. I ask them, when it comes to receiving information, are you a listener or a reader?
Yeah.
And when it comes to explaining something or communicating, are you a writer or a talker? Because people could have any combination of those. I know I am a listener talker, so both like that is easier for me. But I have had clients that they know that they're a listener, but a writer. So just by telling them continue, like keep doing it that way and not the other way around, they get closer to work in their strengths.
Yeah. That's true. We have kind of the same thing where, people creating content, do they like to speak it out or do they like to write it? And video is a great way to kind of do that. If you can speak it out, you can convert it to everything.
Yes.
So,
I mean, isn't writing just taking your spoken words and putting them to paper or some sort of a document?
It is.
I think it has a lot to do with the thinking process.
But it is a pathway. Like some people like to write. I don't like to write per se, but yet I know other people who just love writing. Me, I could just speak stuff out or.
I know I think as I speak, or I learn sometimes as I speak.
Me too.
My mentor, Michael Gerber, is the same way too. He says he learns as he speaks. So his advice to me was, Kayvon, just open up your mouth and start talking and trust the right thing will come out. And okay, that's easy. I'll do that.
Yeah.
On the other end, I forgot who was the philosopher. They asked this great thinker, what's your opinion on so-and-so topic? He said, I don't know. I haven't written about it yet. So he did his thinking when he wrote about the topic. So I think it has to do with how you're wired, process information. Yeah,
for sure. Because I know a lot of people that are one way or the other.
Yeah. So what would be the top suggestions that you have if somebody's looking for like your top 3 on how to improve your sales? Or because we already know how people screw it up all the time by not listening and
right.
Maybe even by using sales scripts. I wonder if sales scripts are something that are good or bad. Does it depend on the script?
I don't think it depends on the script so much as the conversation. And then the conversation should really be about them, like why this is important to, why this is important to you, and getting them to engage in that conversation.
Yeah.
And asking a lot of questions about it.
Yeah, from everything that I have studied and we're talking about, and thank you for that. What are your top 3 questions? See, that's a good question that makes our brain to organize this information. So
for $20,000 or $50,000.
Yeah. So here's what I think my answer is at this time to your question. 1, create a gap. Which is from where they are and where they want to be and what we know. 2, make sure that you also provide aha moments. So that would be a glimmer of hope or something that they didn't know. So create a gap, create aha moments, and using silence or some sort of a structure, and have them to ask for the sale. If they don't, by the end of it, yes, you go about it. And again, you go, hey, would it be helpful if I told you about our offer? Then they say, yes, tell me about it. They're still asking for it, right? So those are my top 3. Right after you asking that question, that came up. So what do you guys think about that?
That's good.
John, what would be your top 3?
My top 3. I think I kind of went through them. Just going through and making sure, like I said, you're asking a lot of questions that are appropriate. Trying to see whether your solution for them makes sense or not. Really getting them to live in that solution environment. Like, what would it be like if you could have this happen? Because that does get them to think about whether or not that, that's something they would want or not. And then I think Kayvon hit it right on the head. Most people just don't ask for the sale. Just make sure at the end you say, hey, if I've got this solution that's appropriate for you, why couldn't we do something together?
Yep.
Yeah, I like all of those. I think for me, it's more about the power of questions, because that was my favorite part actually of clinical practice was the consultation, because I just got to ask a ton of questions, be super nosy, and also be helpful simultaneously while satisfying my curiosity. And the power of silence can actually help to create that gap, and then providing the bridge to accomplish that gap. I would say, that's activating the imagination of the prospect, whether it was a patient or client or, customer, if you will. So.
Yeah.
I think that if you knew nothing about sales, absolutely nothing, if you had no training in it, no knowledge of it whatsoever, I think the best thing you can do is understand what the other person you're sitting across from needs and ask them a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
So if you knew nothing else but to ask appropriate questions that led down that path, you do okay.
Genuine curiosity.
Yeah, you do okay. I think.
I think they said to me, it's interesting because we talk about conversational selling, social selling, and then we talk about consultative selling. And I think consultative is the one where you just ask a ton of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Social selling, I haven't quite figured out yet. So.
Social selling.
The use of social media
is a different beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I think of social selling, I kind of think of it like a review. I got this product. I enjoy it. And let me tell you why I enjoy it and what I think it can do for you.
Yeah. Social selling with the social proof, right?
Yeah.
Social proof. Yeah. I guess social selling involves primarily social proof.
Yeah. So that's how I think of
not to be mixed with spamming people on social media.
That's not unless you're selling spam, which is a delicious pork byproduct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spiced ham, right?
Spam, baby.
Spam.
Get it while you can.
Yeah.
So, anything else that you wanted to cover on this?
No,
we have a clubhouse set for 4:00. I was going to set it for 3:30, but then we got involved in conversation.
Nice.
I'm ready to get on Clubhouse if you like.
To do what?
I said I am ready to get on Clubhouse now if you like. I think
we could do that.
We could covered a lot of things here.
I set the room for 4, but I can just go live now. So, hey, so speaking of asking for the sale, we're going to ask you to submit your questions, your comments, to like us on Book of Faces, show a little love, a few hearts or so, even in the replay. Please use the hashtag replay so that we can identify you. And thank you for watching. We also have this on YouTube. You can find us there also. And I think we have yet to set up the YouTube channel exclusively. You find it on the Dr. Vosgelmann channel, but I'm moving everything over to a Marketing Happy Hour channel. So
cool.
That's a process in and of itself. Digital movers. I need people to lift. It's heavy lifting. Anyway, so we will be back again next week on at 3:00 Pacific time, 6:00 Eastern time. As I said before, please feel free to message us with any of your questions. I think John and I will have some offers coming up soon. I'm sure, Kayvon, you've got your book at some point coming in. Was it late? When is that?
I'm guessing by the end of next month is going to be all finished.
In the next month, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
and so we can talk about that too. I don't know I'm getting unusual messages from my computer saying new devices have been detected on my home network, and so I'm going to go see if there are any Trojan horses, spam, or viruses trying to attack our home network. So we'll see you on the Clubhouse. The Clubhouse title, for those of you who want to know. What the heck is it called? I'm reading it right here. Oh, How to Fix Your Sales Quickly. I shortened the title. So
there you go.
Find it. You'll find it right there. And you'll see, whoops, that's the wrong one. There we go.
I'll see us on the House of Clubs.
On the House of Clubs. In fact, I sent it out as a tweet. And I will share the link with all of you underneath this video. I'm copying the link. All right. We'll be over there shortly. I'll set the room live. See you there. And for all of you who are not on the House of Clubs, we'll see you next week. Ciao for now.
Bye-bye.